guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Apex. In today's episode we're going to be talking about the Hungarian Grand Prix. Now obviously different setup and we're back together filming a podcast. Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't difficult, it was challenging.
It was challenging, it was different, but we got through the podcast that we needed to. So
exactly, but
there'll be a few more in September as well.
Yeah, as well. A few more, but you know what, after that we'll be back to it, and obviously this is the new podcast setup. We might have a few changes behind us as well at some point, you know, you never know, so stay tuned. But let's get into the Grand Prix. So obviously Hungary, it was a good race, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a good race. It got a lot of kind of stick for being quite boring, but cars could overtake.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good. So we'll talk about Red Bull first. Obviously, I mean,
it's just we say this every week.
But he did say. I mean, we watched quite a lot of. We watched Ted's notebook today, and he did. You know, Max said he's driving such a good car. Like it feels amazing, and I think we haven't heard that from any driver. For a while.
No, it's been a while.
So it's really good to see. But obviously, again, they're just really dominant. Obviously, both on the podium.
Yeah.
So Perez was up there, which we haven't been saying recently.
No, it was a good recovery from Checo. But we shouldn't be saying the word recovery. It should just be, with the car he's got, it should just be front row lockout, 1-2.
Yeah,
but
again, it was a good recovery, like you said.
It was a good recovery, yeah.
You can't really complain. But then, we'll move on to Mercedes. Qualifying was fantastic. From Lewis, obviously British fans.
Yeah.
Really good to see him up there. It was great. Felt like we had him back for a minute.
It did. It was kind of, the car shouldn't have been on pole.
Yeah.
I think we can all say that even though the Red Bull did set their car up for the race, they shouldn't have been on pole. And it was a classic Lewis lap. He pulled it out of nowhere, 3 thousandths ahead of Max, and it was great to see.
It was really good to see. In terms of the McLaren, what are we saying on pace, Claire?
I think it's pretty equal. I think in terms of quali pace, I think McLaren are a little bit ahead. But that also depends on their driver lineup, because I think their driver lineup is very kind of equal to Mercedes.
I do.
But I would say the Merc race pace is quicker than the McLaren's for sure. I think this race proved that.
Yeah.
But quali pace they still need to pick up, even though Hamilton stuck it on pole.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, George, again, it was still fantastic from him as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he had a horrible qualified P18, I think.
Yeah.
But came up back to P6, I think. I think it was P6 in the end, or P7.
Yeah.
He was around Leclerc with Leclerc's penalty. I think it was just behind Leclerc, and then Leclerc got his penalty. It's a fantastic recovery. Did not expect that from him, really. I expected him just on the brink of the points, really.
Same.
But it was a great recovery, and showing that you do need a good driver lineup, because I think Checo in the Red Bull, if he qualified P18, he probably would have only got about P8 with his kind of history this year. So it was a good weekend from Merc overall.
Definitely. Okay, so we'll move on to Ferrari.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, that was just. I mean, it's telling. We've got to say it was a really good weekend with someone, and then it was a really bad.
Yeah, it is always.
It's always going to be that. You're always not going to have people because not everyone can win, you know. So. But then again, it was just their qualifying.
Their qualifying pace is nowhere in comparison to where they should be. They should be battling the McLarens, which I didn't think I'd be saying, and battling the Mercs, but they're really not. They're off the pace. I mean, Charles looked somewhat competitive in Q2, but they should be up there more, fighting for pole really. And even though their race pace is somewhat competitive, which is a positive at least, because it used to be their quali pace was just horrific.
Yeah.
But now it's just their quali pace is horrific and their race pace is alright.
Yeah. No, not the best weekend for them.
It really wasn't, and their strategy wasn't on the best form as well.
When is it
on good form?
On good form.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually said that it's been alright, but
I hate to say it, but it's true.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't swap Leclerc and Sainz at the start. It didn't make sense to keep Sainz on softs behind Leclerc on mediums.
No.
But that's Ferrari for you, isn't it?
That's just typical Ferrari, isn't it? Yeah. So you can't really say anything more. But then,
On to a worse weekend.
Alpine.
Oh my god.
First lap, first corner.
Out.
2 cars out.
I mean, it wasn't their fault.
Again,
It wasn't their fault. It was Zhou's fault who went into Ricciardo, then went into Esteban.
Yeah.
But it wasn't positive. Their quali pace was nowhere in quali. They did look like the 6th quickest car this weekend, which we were kind of saying they were fighting for P4, even 3rd fastest car in Monaco.
Yeah.
But yeah, their quali pace is just not where it should be, and it's kind of fighting the Williams, you could say. And it's not where they should be. It's
not where they've been at the start of the season, like you said either. Like they've gone downhill, definitely,
massively.
But like you said, it wasn't their fault, and it wasn't even Joe's fault either.
No,
because when you said it earlier, but like it was not a human error.
It was he had a technical fault with the car at the start. He then was going into it all kind of. It's understandable. Yeah, it's understandable. But yeah, it's definitely not Alpine's fault.
No, but it's just not a great weekend for
them.
No,
it's not. I mean, Gasly had a fantastic start as well. He was kind of going up the outside of everyone, and it was he kind of overtook Esteban on the outside. It would have been insane.
It would have been insane.
But unfortunately, it amounted to nothing. Both cars out lap 1. So
what can you do?
But moving on to a fantastic weekend for McLaren.
There we go.
But yeah, fantastic quali pace. Lando's in the fight for pole again. It's amazing to see. I'm loving life right now.
Yeah.
And obviously Piastri right up there as well, proving why he replaced Ricciardo.
Definitely.
But yeah, the race as well. The race pace was there, especially for Lando. He could stay ahead of Checo at the end. It was really positive, and I really do think that Aston Martin will be our competitors in the constructors.
I think so.
Even though Ferrari are above us right now, and obviously Aston are above, our race pace and quali pace is so far ahead of Aston. We should start getting loads of points, and fingers crossed we can get P4.
Yeah, I mean that would be good. We weren't saying this.
No, we weren't.
I
think I was kind of taking P7 at the start of, and now I'm like, can we fight for P4?
Yeah, I mean.
But obviously there was a little bit of controversy. With the boxing of Lando before Piastri. Obviously Piastri got ahead. They then boxed Lando before to obviously avoid the undercut from Lewis. I don't think the kind of backlash that McLaren have got from this has been kind of justified. No. It made sense to box Lando, because if Hamilton had boxed and they boxed Piastri first, they would have lost the 2-3. So it did make sense, and eventually it kind of showed that it was the right decision, because Piastri didn't have the pace in the end, and Lando kind of streaked up this road. Yeah. So yeah, it was the best decision, I think.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Alfa Romeo.
Yep, what a quali!
Yeah.
I mean, P5, P7. I think
incredible. I mean, they just jumped the whole standings. They just, I don't know. Yeah,
I'm thinking it must be track dependent. It has to be track dependent.
It must be because
But yeah, I think we were watching. Obviously, you said we were watching Ted's notebook. I think Ted said it was their best quali since 2012. I think. Obviously, they were Sauber BMW. I think at that point, and just all you can say is what a quali.
What a quali, yeah.
And then Joe at the start had the technical error. Got a horrific start, and it all just went downhill from then.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that's all you can say. Yeah. The race pace was good. They kind of showed it, but again, they couldn't show it because they were at the back in traffic.
Exactly.
So it just wasn't.
Just a meh.
Yeah. And this is my time to talk about Théo Pourchaire. It wasn't the best weekend, quite frankly. I mean, at the start, after the sprint weekend, after the sprint race, it was 1 point behind Vesti. I mean, unreal. And then the feature race, he was just off the pace, and that was his chance to get within kind of reach of Vesti, and now he's 11 points back again. So that is Théo. He does make mistakes like this. He's off the pace sometimes. Hopefully, he can bring it back in Spa and go into the summer break ahead of Vesti. That's like the best case scenario, but it's going to be a titanic championship battle, I think, going all the way to the end of the season. So yeah, I'm excited, nervous.
We'll see.
But we will see.
Yeah, we will see. Okay.
But on to Aston Martin. So yeah, they kind of look like they're the 5th quickest car right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happened there. They've just kind of disappeared in the whole. Like, I think we've obviously seen McLaren up there, like within pace with the improvements, and then we've kind of just not forgotten about Aston Martin, but they've just. They haven't been there. No, there's nothing to see. It's just.
And I mean, Alonso's trying to blame it on the new compound of Pirelli tyres that was brought in off Silverstone.
Yeah.
Obviously, they dropped pace in Silverstone and have dropped pace here. but the team's kind of saying it isn't the case, and it's actually just other teams catching up.
Definitely.
So, you can't put them anywhere. I think Alonso qualified P8. He was quite trying to get on the front row at some point in the season. So it's a shame to see, but at the same time, they need to stay on the game. They need to stay there, and you need to put in the work. They can't just come complacent.
No, they can't. I think that will be telling. If you probably look back to the factories now, they're probably like going mad, with improvements and things, the same as what McLaren have been doing, and just trying to become the fastest. Like they were, I'm pretty sure they were trying to they were second fastest.
Easily second fastest car at some point. I mean, in Saudi they were easily second fastest car. Bahrain they kind of were around there as well, and then they're fifth quickest now. It's not great to see.
It's not great to see, but like you said, obviously it is the improvements. We've seen McLaren flying and then Mercedes flying, so they're going to be backwards in the standings.
And I mean, look, we are all still at the start of the regs. We've only had them for a year and a half. They need to be hyper developing this car right now. They can't just be becoming complacent, moving on to next year already, like probably Red Bull are.
Yes.
Aston Martin need to stay on their game, otherwise they're gonna come P5 in this constructors, which you would not have said at the start of the season.
You wouldn't. And it would be a shame.
It would be a shame. It really would. Moving on to Haas, it was just a mere weekend. They didn't get points. They weren't there.
No.
It's kind of just like every race weekend for Haas nowadays.
We never really have much to say.
No, we do. I mean, Nico got to Q3, which is good. They always kind of show some quality pace and then don't have the race pace to back it up. That race pace has never been there. Although Nico has been outperforming Magnussen like crazy, and the team have come out and said that they really want to sign Nico again. They're not sure about Magnussen. Rumours have been coming out that possible movement from Alfa Romeo, Zhou to Haas, and then Teo share into Sauber next year, which I would love. I would love that. I would pay good money to see Teo share in Formula 1. That's all I want to see next year. Nico is carrying that team right now, and Magnussen finished on the road last. That's not a good sign for a driver that was outperforming Mick so much last season as well. It's really not good to see. It's not.
So just a normal weekend for us, I suppose. But we'll move on to AlphaTauri. Danny Ric.
Danny Ric is back.
I don't think there was a moment in that race where I wasn't looking to see where he was. Danny Ric. I was like, oh my gosh, how well is he doing? Where is he? And then when they went off at the start, there was an AlphaTauri that went off, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that Danny Ric? No. What can we say about Danny Ric?
He had a good weekend.
Yeah.
There is no denying that. If it wasn't for the incident at the start, if he hadn't have crashed and spun, he probably would have been in the points, which you would not. I wasn't predicting it at all. I think it's fair to say I'm not the biggest Danny Ric fan, especially if it's time McLaren. It's kind of tainted my view of him. But I want him to prove that he's a good driver, and at the moment, outperforming Yuki. So. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see towards the end of the season.
I'm excited to see what he's got to show, to be honest. Yeah.
It'll be very interesting, but
Yeah, it will be good. So we'll move on to Williams.
Finally. It was an alright weekend for a track that they didn't think would be theirs at all. It's very low speed corners. Yeah. That car has no downforce whatsoever. It is just a bullet in the straights. They had to do something aggressive, and they did.
They did.
They boxed early, forcing others to box. They I think they're around the P12 mark, P13 with Albon and Sargent.
Yeah.
Which I would say is a positive result for them at a track like Hungary.
I think so, and a positive result overall as well in terms of where they are, where they are in the standings.
Definitely. We've seen them dead last, P10, the last couple of seasons. And now they are actually fighting for the points, and it's great to see. James Vowles is bringing a new spirit of life into that team, and he does suit the Williams team principal role. I would say it was a positive weekend.
I think, for them, but obviously not the same positive as what we've been talking about earlier.
No, we're kind of saying P12, P13 positive.
Positive
but
for them. Positive, is the right way to put it. But So let's round it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll finish it off there. A good weekend. I wouldn't say great because I didn't find it the most stimulating race.
It wasn't, no.
I mean, to put it plainly, we watched the highlights and they show you the highlights from like that 1 to 18 and then they cut straight to the end lap. So you can tell how boring it kind of was, boring, in quotation marks. But, a good weekend and we've talked about most of the teams and how they've performed and it's just going to be great to see. We've got obviously Spa next weekend, but obviously we will do a podcast and we're going to get it out for you and we're going to be together filming it. But one thing I will say is that it's the London E-Prix this weekend.
Yep.
As you can tell, I'm kind of a little bit. I'm a bit Formula E mad. Sam's
Formula E nut,
I'm a Formula E nut. So we're seeing that Saturday and Sunday, and we're up there Friday as well. So we are going to try and watch as much as possible in terms of F1, but obviously cut us some slack because we're trying to watch 2 motorsport things at once, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, trust me.
Especially on London Signal.
Especially on London Signal, you cannot download anything for the life of you. So that is our plan. But obviously, because it's the end of the Formula E season, 2023, the Gen 3 season, it's been a really good season, and I really cannot wait to see who wins the drivers and the constructors. It's going to be a really tight battle.
Yeah.
So one thing about that is we're going to do, because obviously we do Formula 1 podcasts every week or every race weekend. So we're going to do a Formula E roundup vlog? Why did I say vlog? Podcast. We're going to do a Formula E roundup about the whole season so far. Bearing in mind, I've been to 3 races of the season. That is concerning.
The concern for the bank
all again next year. Literally concerning for the bank
account.
So we're going to talk about the season and about what happened and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that because those are the 2 videos that are going to be coming out very soon.
Very, very soon.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.
Goodbye.